Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. There are a lot of people trying to understand how I was able to predict Inoue against Fulton the way I did. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, check out this short I did months ago. Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Why in the world are people acting so surprised that Inoue, an amazing Japanese talent, right? Why this amazing boxer is a betting favorite going in against Stephen Fulton. Now, don't get me wrong. Stephen Fulton is an amazing fighter. He has everything you want in a fighter. His IQ, his speed, his footwork, his ring generalship, even his defense is pretty good, right? He has those cat-like reflexes. But the problem is, one thing he doesn't have, which we know is the equalizer in the sport of boxing, is power. And Inoue has that power. And once he touches Stephen Fulton, I am sure Stephen Fulton is going to run for the hills, Inoue by knockout. Now, there are a lot of people who came into the comments when I made that video, and they were attacking me, man. They started talking about, race, insulting me because they felt that I should be supporting Fulton just because we have this, insulting Inoue because, he's Japanese. And to that I gotta say, in the most respectful manner, and it's a kind request, that you hold your horses and don't take it to the stupid. When it comes to boxing, race has nothing to do with it, man. Get out of here with that crap. You know what I'm saying? And then when it comes to people who weren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth, let me tell you, I've traveled all over the world. Let me tell you something, man. Poverty, sufferation, that shit has no color. There's no gender. There's no political affiliation. There's no religion. Let me tell you, that's everywhere, man. So I think sometimes if you have somebody who really comes from nothing and boxing is the only shot they have to improve their family situation, to get them out of poverty, I think they fight with a different passion, a different hunger. And it shows, the emotions show in the ring if they lose, because they're like, what are they going back to? What are they going to do? What are they going to tell their wife, their son, mother, and father when they put it all into their child? So outside of that, boxing and race and all that and ethnic origin, that doesn't matter. So you say, okay, how'd you come up with this prediction? I'm going to tell you. I watched Inoue when he fought, when Fulton fought Figueroa. And I remember watching that fight and I was like, man, Figueroa's having a lot of success. And it was back and forth, but I remember saying, man, if Figueroa had a little more pop, he could have won that fight. And then I went back when I heard, Inoue was going to bubble up because, everybody was saying he's a monster, he's pound for pound this. And, I just have an idea of how some of those fighters out of Asia can fight, especially Japan and Korea, because I spent so much time over there. And I was like, man, let me look at some more clips or videos of Inoue's fights. And I watched, Fulton's fights and Inoue's fights. So I watched Inoue's fights and I saw what he brought to the ring. And I watched those fights with him and Nonito Donaire. I said, damn, Inoue fought with a broken jaw, broken orbital, still pushed through that fight. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, he cut from a different cloth. Because I don't care what you say, Nonito Donaire can crack. So I knew if Nonito Donaire couldn't stop him, and he can crack, Fulton he's not going to bring much to the table. He'd probably be able to box a little bit. I figured he'd probably cut him up with those high cheekbones. But at some point when the real deal started, Fulton would feel that power and the fight would change immediately. But then I watched some of Fulton's fights and I saw he ends up on those ropes. He plays around on the ropes, languishes, will slide left, slide right, and get cute in there. Which I was like, he can't do that against Inoue. So after I watched all of that on Fulton, I watched the stuff on Inoue, I said, okay, let me look at for Inoue now, let me look at his amateur pedigree. And let me tell you something. When I went and I took a look at Inoue, right? This man's amateur record, this man was 75 wins, 6 losses, right? 48 knockouts out of 75 fights. In the amateurs, this man had 48 knockouts. I said, this stuff that Inoue's doing as a professional, knocking people out, this isn't something that just started. He was out there, guys, with headgear, with big old gloves, knocking people out as an amateur. And people talk, oh, he only fought in Japan. No, he didn't, man. He hit that whole Asian circuit. He fought all over the place. This man won championships as an amateur all over the place. So you can go right to Wikipedia and pull it up. So after I did my research on him, I said, you know what? I get it. He started boxing at 108 pounds. But, you know, he's small. He's growing. His body is developing. I said, you know what, 118 pounds, 122 pounds, if you look at it from 108 to 122, it sounds like a lot. But when you look at his body, I'm like, my man could probably go up to 130. And I said, 118 to 122, that's nothing as far as the weight disparity. So I said, that gives him a good chance to knock out Fulton, because Fulton didn't seem to have the kind of power to cause a lot of problems for him. He seemed to have the speed, he had the reflex, he seemed to have the boxing IQ that could present an issue. But Inoue has that as well. Amateur pedigree and some vicious sparring there in Japan. Now I'm telling you, it's different. I've been out there and I sparred with some guys, man, from Korea and Japan. And because of maybe my own personal experience, when you're sparring those guys, right? I've been in gyms stateside. I actually sparred in Germany too, right? But I've been in some gyms stateside where you spar, and sometimes it's like, hey, we're just trying to make each other better. 100% speed, 50% power. Sometimes it's like, yo, it's a fight. It's the only way you're gonna get better, right? So sometimes you end up in those, what I call them brouhahas. You know, it's like life or death. But fighting over there in Asia, they fight for honor. Let me tell you, man. I talked about in other videos some of the stuff I've seen in those gyms that trainers do to those athletes, man. If those athletes aren't performing to their potential, if they're not focused, I'm telling you, I'll just leave it as what I don't share all the stories. As one I shared, I'll share it again. Seeing a young guy in Korea, he was supposed to go on to represent the country in the Olympics, right? This was 2008, 2009 timeframe. And he was a young kid, man, but he could fight. They used to say he has a gang. I don't know what that means, but I guess it means like he has, he's intense or something, or, just like vicious, aggressive. Anyway, he's playing around the ring, and they beat him. That focus mitt that looks like a tennis racket, that when you hold like this, and they beat him. Put his hands behind his back, lean forward, beat him. Pow, pow. And I remember watching that. It's me and my partner, he was Puerto Rican. We worked together. We used to go to the gym and work out together. We used to spar and everything. And we used to spar their guys. And he and I were watching that, and we just looked at each other. And we were like, yo, WTF. And then the coach was trying to tell us, like, look, he had broken in. He Korea is different. He was trying to tell us, the way they train and discipline their athletes, it's nothing you guys are used to. It's a culture thing. And without him using all those words, I knew what he was trying to tell me. And I remember leaving out of there like, yo, man, they damn near, that's like abuse, you know what I'm saying? But over there it was normal. So I give you all that to say, I know that those guys fight for honor. And Inoue losing at home, I think that would have more of an impact on him than it would on Fulton. Like Fulton come back, it's different, man. Nobody stateside supporting their fighters. Like, the whole country doesn't really get behind fighters here in the United States. Other countries, man, they get behind their fighters. The whole race and religion, that doesn't matter. If you're from that country, they get behind you. So I think I felt like going into the fight, they both wanted to win, but I felt Inoue would dig deeper if he had to because he's there fighting in front of his country, and he just wasn't going to go out there and lose this fight. Not in front of all of his fans and his family and everybody, his fellow countrymen. He wasn't going to do that. So when I came back and I did my analysis, I took all that into consideration. Fulton struggling with Figueroa, Fulton in fights, kind of, playing around on the ropes, relying on his, reflexes to get him out of trouble, looking to be quick and counter, sometimes pop shot, not necessarily letting go 8, 9, 10 punches, And I was like, he's just not going to be able to do that against a guy and be cute. You know what I call it, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, turning it into a tickling contest against a vicious monster like Inoue, who walked through the fire against Donaire with a broken orbital and broken jaw. I said, there's nothing Fulton can do. I said, once Inoue touches him, the fight's going to change. I said that. And that's how I came up with it. So for those of you who are saying, okay, damn, Hood, that was so spot on. That's how I did it. I took time to understand Naoya Inoue. And not just as a pro. I took it back as an amateur. I watched those videos and I said, damn, this man had over 50% KO knockout ratio? It doesn't just happen. Then I did another video, right? Around the same time where I did that one, where I talked about, I'm just gonna play 2 minutes of this for you, right? And listen to what I said, because I didn't understand why they were Fulton was taking this fight. I knew the money was good, and I agree with taking it for the money, but it just didn't make sense to me to go and be at a disadvantage. He dared to be great, and that's to be committed. Fulton is, I'm going to go through some of these comments. I'll let y'all read them. Fulton is an amazing fighter. He just was outmatched, man. And styles make fights. And that's why I called it the way I did. But I'm going to play for you the first 2 minutes of this 15-minute video I did, where you'll hear what I'm saying in the first 2 minutes. And we'll come back and we'll talk about that, get into the comments, and then I'll conclude this video. But just listen to this. Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, find a way to lose. A lot of talk about this fight coming up with Naoya Inoue and Stephen Fulton. A lot of people talking about whether they feel Inoue can beat Stephen Fulton or not. And I'm going to tell you right now, I personally think Inoue is going to clip Stephen Fulton. And I don't think the fight's going to be hard at all for Inoue. Let's forget the fact that he's coming up 4 pounds. 4 pounds is nothing, man. I don't care who wants to argue about 4 pounds, 5 pounds, 7 pounds when the guys come from 118 to 122. Not a big deal. Although he started off at 108 pounds, it won't be a big deal for this fight. So they agreed to the terms, man, for that unified fight at 122 pounds, which is really good. Supposed to be fighting in Japan, right? Which is interesting. That means Fulton got to go over there, but they got to go where the money's at. But Inoue is in a good position. Going to automatically go into a unified title fight for the WBC and WBO junior featherweight titles. Now, they haven't pinpointed a specific date. We just know it's going to be in May. It's supposed to be streamed on ESPN Plus. But I want to tell y'all this. I don't know why Fulton, who's unified at 122, would even entertain fighting a killer like Inoue. We understand him being undisputed at 118, dropping the belts, bubbling up, getting it, and being entitled to an automatic shot to a title. But I just don't see why Fulton would take such a risky fight. The guy's nickname is the Monster for a reason. Stop it right there. So you can see even when I did that full video, in addition to the short, I was touching on those same things. Because I tried to understand why Fulton and his team would go into that. I was even thinking, why not go become undisputed, didn't go into a fight like that. But I get it. When they put that kind of money in front of you, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Now, that being said, right, when I did this video, the short about Inoue, there were a lot of people that were raking me across the coals and saying a bunch of nonsense. Well, I mean, things have come full circle. But it just goes to show you, when you're dealing with some of these guys who are talking about giving predictions and analyzing fights, I don't mind being wrong. But I'm going to make sure when I give you something that is rooted in substance. And everything that I looked at, I talked positively about Fulton and Inoue. But when the dust settled, I looked at it. I said, it's hard for me to go against Inoue. It's hard to go against him. People are now asking me to predict Crawford and Spence. Not so easy. Spence and Crawford are so evenly matched, it's crazy. Although they have different areas where one may be stronger than the other, but when you compare them, it's pretty damn balanced. So I did give a prediction, only because of Earl Spence this week, and he keeps talking about his weight. I don't understand what the deal is with him and his weight. He's talked about it before, but not like this. It makes me wonder if Earl Spence is already defeated through the weight cut. And as a result, Crawford is going to have an advantage, and we're going to see what happens as the fight goes on. First six, I think within 6-8 rounds, I think Crawford stops him. He gets caught. I think the weight cut is too much. I think this is like a fight he shouldn't have taken. He should have moved up a long time ago. Could be like a Teofimo Lopez situation at 135. Not saying he's the same fighter as Teofimo. What I'm saying is maybe he's hanging around for a fight. One fight too long. But again, pretty evenly matched. But when you look at some of these comments that were being made, right? Let me do this so y'all can see this nonsense. I'll make this a little bit bigger for you, okay? So 6 months ago, I said, fantastic fight between Fulton and Inoue. Now, when I expand this, you get guys here that started to make comments. He says, let me see. Where is a good example of someone being ridiculous? These are guys recently who were saying positive things. Here, where is it? Some people say some positive stuff. I want to show you some of the stuff these guys were saying, man. Because they're crafty Inoue, he's telling me that totally agreed. Yeah, Fulton got class. Let me find this crazy stuff. Some people are saying nice things to me because my prediction was right. Where is it where they had some idiots out here being very, very nasty? Let me see, man. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Here's one right here. Like this guy here, he says, I'm going to make a bold prediction that Fulton is going to be clinching. Fulton is going to use his jab. Let me see. Let me expand this. But he believes Inoue will make adjustments. Okay, so he was pretty fair, right on the money. Let me see how I got. Where is it? Let's see. Official, you was on point. Nice. Okay, here we go. This is the guy who was out of control, man. Don't delete this so I can laugh for months, right? This was hilarious. Look at this. So this was funny, this thread. Hold on a second. Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win. Let me go back up and find this, right? Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win. I'm just looking. I'm doing a video, but you can come on there. I'm doing a video. There's a comment here I wanted to share with these guys. What's up? Yeah, I'm on here. looking for it still. It's called, let me see, where is it, man? Where is it? Where is it? I just clicked on this damn thing and it jumped. It's right here. They call him the grandpa and stuff. It's cool. Let me show you what this guy, there's one guy here who was being real disrespectful, man. Let's see what he has to say. I got it, where is it? Here it is. It says, he says he wants to come back to this channel, right? And where is it? It's coming up here, man. He had a whole lot to say about coming back to the channel. He had like 32 replies underneath his. Where is it? Where is it, man? I think I passed it. Hold on. Everybody saying nice things about me. Where is that guy, man? He was real ridiculous with it. Real ridiculous with it, man. I just passed it. Hey, sorry to have y'all in a holding pattern like this. I'm trying to find that comment because he went off, man. Oh, here it is right here. Here it is right here. So let me click on this, right? Right here. Okay, it's pulling up his thread. The man had 32 replies to his comment, right? Where he says, "Don't delete," so he can laugh. Okay. So this first reply, let me wait till this thing stops thinking, right? It says, "Facts, Inoue is their new Ryan Garcia, Fulton by domination. Although I like Inoue, he's a savage. Fulton has to come up." Next guy says, "For the love of spanking, don't delete this comment so I can laugh for years." So you can see there's some people who disagree with what he's saying. And this guy goes, "Oh, I won't delete it, goofy." I don't know why these guys use the word goofy. It sounds so uneducated when they talk like that. "Trust me, y'all don't know boxing. Inoue will lose, and it won't be shocking to me. I can't believe y'all really think he's beating Fulton. But then again," he says, "y'all don't know boxing." Okay? So 10 days ago, somebody goes, "Inoue will KO Fulton. That means I don't know boxing either, huh? I bet I'll meet you here after the fight." And someone says, "Don't delete y'all comments. I want to come back here and laugh at y'all." So they're still saying that, people are going to be wrong, saying Inoue would win. And then this guy says, "You definitely know boxing. I always suspected Inoue was on steroids." Another guy just talking nonsense about Inoue. "Never delete this comment. We need someone to laugh at. Now you crying, so now people are going in on him. You laughing at yourself yet?" And this is hilarious. So you see, there's some more on here that I'll let you guys go to the video and you can read. People call him goofy. "You should think before you speak. Fulton's a great boxer. I get it, but that's not enough. Sometimes you need heart and be willing to take a punch." And people are just raking this guy across the coals. Tell him, "Hey, come back. Where are you? How are you?" They're just having a field day with him. But that being said, there are more comments there. I don't feel like going through those where they were talking about, basically, being pretty racial, but being full of nonsense. Long story short, bringing things full circle. Hey, man, Fulton, I don't agree with people calling him a bum and this and that. Fulton's a real deal. Some guys are just special. And with Inoue, when you got the explosiveness of like a Pacquiao, the punch placement, speed, and everything, man, technical abilities, similar to Mayweather. I'm not saying he's Pacquiao Mayweather, but what I'm saying is when I was watching him fight Fulton, I saw him doing things like both of those guys. It's just hard to beat somebody like that. They got more. When it comes to power, they have more power than you. When it comes to speed, they have more speed than you. When it comes to willing to take risks, they want to take more risks than you. When it comes to ring IQ, it's balanced where they have more ring IQ than you. accuracy, it's the same way they have more accuracy than you. Stamina, they have more stamina than you. It's hard to beat somebody like that. And that's just what Fulton walked into. That being said, man, I appreciate y'all's support. Appreciate you guys asking me, my opinion on Spence and Crawford and other fights. I don't have a crystal ball. I just try to be as fair as possible and look at these fighters to see what they bring to the table and understand the amateur background as well, because that plays a part. For those of you who say the amateur background doesn't play a part, look at Regis Prograis. Done pretty well as a professional, right? Look what happened to him when he fought that guy a month ago. He was lost in there. He didn't know what to do. He was asking the corner, what do I do? He was lost. That's because, he started boxing, I think, at 19. He is naturally talented, athletic guy. But the amateur pedigree, amateur background, it really does help sometimes to push these fighters over the edge because they fight so many different styles from all over the world, and it pays dividends when they turn pro. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans on 7 continents. Fulton to bounce back. He'll continue to do damage at 122 pounds. But I just think when it comes to a guy like Inoue, they're talking about Fulton getting his get back. He needs to hold his horses and reassess that. I don't think he wants any parts of Inoue. Leave that man alone. That being said, keep cool. Shout out to the veterans in the breeze.